Hey there, everybody. It's George from the Dinosaur George Company. All right. This time, Cory from Jackson, Missouri writes and says, Dear DG, I was wondering if you've ever seen any of the dinosaur toy replicas made by Papo or Carnegie. If so, do you think they are accurate models? Thanks for your time. You know, Cory, I have not seen the Papo line, but I have seen the Carnegie line. And I'll tell you something. They do a pretty good job of making them anatomically accurate. I think they look really cool. They have some issues with scale. In some cases, some are not scaled properly to the other, but that's not a mistake. They just have different scale models. And the reason why is if you had a Brachiosaurus that was this long, you would have to make a Velociraptor so tiny nobody could see it. So I can understand why they have a scale difference. But I will say that they're very good, and I'm pretty impressed with them. All right, Melissa from Singapore. Hi, DG. Nice to know you, Melissa. Great to hear from you always. I've got a question regarding what is the function of the quills that had grown out of the tail of Psittacosaurus or Psittacosaurus, depends on how you pronounce it. Excuse me. Melissa, if indeed Psittacosaurus or Psittacosaurus had those little quill-like appendages, which are basically, they're more like feather-like appendages, they're proto-feathers, they were probably used simply for display. Think of a peacock that has those great big elongated tail feathers, and when it's trying to attract a mate, it spreads its tail and kind of uses them as a billboard to attract a mate. I would guess that Psittacosaurus would probably have used them for the same thing, even though they weren't as broad as peacock feathers. They still may have served the same purpose. All right, Zach from Geneva, New York. Hey there, DG. I'm wanting to ask a question about Spinosaurus. The way you describe it, it was like a featherweight. But when you see it, the first thing comes to mind is it's related to a crocodile. And crocodiles are apex predators in their environment. So is it possible that Spinosaurus had a much greater bite? Well, Zach, let me tell you this. You're absolutely right. I've had so many people ask me questions where they want me to compare T-Rex and Spinosaurus. And in my opinion, T-Rex is just a much stronger, more powerful dinosaur. But take out the T-Rex factor, Spinosaurus is a huge, big-time bad dude. So I'm at fault for making it seem like, in your words, Spinosaurus is a featherweight. He's not. Compared to T-Rex, he is. But compared to all other dinosaurs, this is a bad dude. The reason why I don't think Spinosaurus's bite force is as powerful as a crocodile, because Spinosaurus's jaws are much more elongated. And the longer the jaws are, the less powerful the muscles will be in order to bring those close. In other words, if your snout is long and your muscles come about halfway down, that gives you huge bite force. But if your snout is incredibly long, your muscle still can only come down to about the part where the opening of the mouth is. So the muscle can't be as long anymore. And that means that you don't have the same amount of leverage. You have much more snout than you do muscle to snap it shut. So I don't believe that this dinosaur would have had the same bite force as a crocodile, even though it looks similar. Because again, the opening of the mouth where the jaws meet and that piece of skin comes together, that's about as far as the muscle can go. The muscle can't go further along because then when he opens his mouth, his muscle would be exposed. I hope that makes sense to you, Zach. Basically what I'm saying is, if your jaws are this short, well, let's do this. Let's say your jaw is this long and your muscle is halfway as long. You get a big bite force. If your jaw is longer, the muscle can still only be that long. Now you have a lot more jaw to close with that same size muscle and it doesn't work. And if the jaw is even longer, you get into an even bigger problem, and that is this muscle is still the same size as the little guy, but the difference is now you got a lot more jaw to snap shut, and it's hard for you to exert the same amount of pressure. So that's why I don't believe that he has the same bite force, or I don't believe we could use a crocodile as a good example. I think we could use a gharial. A gharial is more similar to a Spinosaurus in the way its jaws are done. And when you look at a gharial, yes, it could bite, but a gharial has no kind of bite force compared to, say, a saltwater crocodile. All right, Joergen from Bergen, Norway. Hi, Dino George. I have a project with one of my friends that we are going to show at school, and I like watching your show to find out more about dinosaurs. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I think you're a great paleontologist, Joergen. It's very kind of you, and I appreciate that very much. If you look at Compsognathus and Archaeopteryx, they are not that different. Well, you're right. If in fact you're going to demonstrate that dinosaurs are and birds are dinosaurs, and that's basically what you say is that that's what your project's going to be. Those would be good examples to use. You're absolutely right. Archaeopteryx and Compsognathus are very, very similar in skeletal design. I had the opportunity to look at the Berlin specimens of Compsognathus and the unfeathered Archaeopteryx. See, once in a while, a dinosaur like Archaeopteryx can die, and the sediment that it dies in is so fine that it will pick up the impressions of the feathers. That's what happened. But the first Archaeopteryx that was found did not have those feathered impressions. And so therefore, scientists really thought it and Compsognathus were almost one and the same animal. But if you add feathers to Archaeopteryx, he looks different. But in my opinion, Compsognathus may have been feathered. We just haven't found a feathered impression of him yet. So I think those dinosaurs are good examples of why so many paleontologists believe that birds and predatory dinosaurs are related, because their skeletal design is very similar. And the fact now that we know that many of these have feathers clearly tells us there's a close relationship. So for your school project, I think those would both be very good animals to use as examples. All right, finally, Alex from Manchester, England. Hey, DG, happy birthday. Thank you, Alex. A few days ago was my birthday. I just want to ask you, what is your favorite sauropod? Mine is Camarasaurus. Well, first of all, my favorite sauropod, I would probably say it would be Brachiosaurus or Argentinosaurus, simply because they're so big and I just think they look kind of cool. He said, and why did Gregory S. Paul think Deinonychus should have been called Velociraptor? Because their skulls are so completely different. Gregory Paul, I really, really like the work Greg Paul does. He's an incredible artist, and he's a pretty cutting-edge guy. He's got some pretty cool ideas. The reason why, I think, is because he believed that the dinosaur is so much like the one named Velociraptor that it should have been put in the exact same species family. It should have been the exact same animal with just a different species name. But it should have been the same genus. I don't know why he would have thought that. I disagree with that. I think there's enough distinctive differences that they shouldn't have been kept within the both being named Velociraptor, but having a different last name. But I don't know. I've never seen what the reason for that is. I don't agree with it, but who knows? All right, listen, you guys, if you've got a question, go to my website, dinosaurgeorge.com. While you're there, join up to follow me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. I post some cool information on there. To everybody out there, make sure and take care of the people around you, especially those that need your help. This is a great time of year to remind ourselves of why it's so important that we all take care of each other, because we all live on this planet together. For you young people, make sure and practice your reading and use good manners in everything you do. For everybody out there, take care. Happy holidays to you, and I will see you all again soon.